Hello there, Crackbook. And then obviously this will be uploaded to my YouTube after. And yeah, the story continues. So anyway, one of the challenges with lives is that I freefall as I speak, and obviously people come in and on lives. So I actually quite like videoing these and then putting them out, because as people come in live, people are only getting half of what I'm saying. I'm just in text because Ryan, the same as me, has got other people in the house, so he can only text communication at the moment. So I'm just in text with Ryan, one of the journalists. Hello there, Maria. Lovely to see you there, darling, and thanks for your loyalty, and thanks for not taking me personally as well when I'm talking about parents that troll over parents that are genuinely here for healing, connection with other people who are going through what we're going through, remembering that each and every one of us is having our own battle in this. And particularly coming from an autistic Asperger's point of view with myself, whatever my mum wants to think and what everybody else wants to think, it can be really overwhelming for someone like me to have so many people around. And sometimes I want to talk and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I want people around me, sometimes I don't. Sometimes even Danielle rang me today and gave me the time for tomorrow. So please, if you are in Portsmouth tomorrow, if you are a parent affected by parent alienation, because this is Andrew's network. Andrew has walked all the way from Exeter, and I'm hoping it is all going to come to plan, because I've gone to pack the bag for in the morning, and the condensation from the bathroom has, even though I've moved the fucking nappies, the last 20 nappies that were in there to get me through to payday are soaked wet through. So both of the children are currently wearing their last nappies of this pack, and obviously that's really easy, isn't it? I could run to Asda right now. It's Sunday. I can't. All the shops are currently shut, and actually my bank account is on 16p only. I am waiting, by the way. I've got a lovely Ralph Lauren jacket there that's about to go up for sale, so, but it's not going to happen by tomorrow. So anyway, the quartz is there. So somehow tomorrow, with two mixed potty trained children and trying to improvise and also get up to Portsmouth Football Club because my nappy packs are all up there, and try to be over there in time tomorrow. So basically Andrew is here for parent alienation, double standards between families, but as a network of people, we all run down a different alleyway basically that leads into do I have any evidence? Oh yes. Do we have any evidence, guys? Oh yes. Just sorting my filing cabinet out. Some online will sort for email. Oh yeah. There you go. So all the branches of the tree. So you have family courts. Within the family court structures, obviously there is a judge. There is potentially CAF, and then social services. And when people go into the family courts, it's either because they're going through a separation and there is a war between the two parents, and these two parents can either safely 2 seconds, I'll just let you know I'm on a live. Yeah, so those two parents can safely sit down in mediation, go, you're a cunt, you fucked me off, we're getting separated, but hang on a minute, whatever goes on between the two of us, we have children together, and the children need both parents. These are what are called mature adults. These are the people that go into the family courts because they know that the arguments between the two couples is too much, that they have to come down to some form of agreement on what's going to happen with the children. The bog standard way that it works in the courts is the children remain with the mother, and then the father sees the children every other weekend, Friday to Sunday. That is pretty much the bog standard way that the blueprint within the courts works. It's crap, it's shit. I've been one of them mothers on the other end of it that is literally there with the kids 24/7, and then every other weekend they go off to their dads. It was actually every other weekend and twice in the week with our arrangement. But sometimes it doesn't go this way, and when you go into the family courts, it can become very difficult, because straight away it's not the mum, the woman, the dad, the man. It then becomes the solicitor for the mum and the solicitor for the dad. And this is where the problems are occurring. Now, when Graham and I, which is Daniel's dad, my 19-year-old, went into the family courts, I actually sat there and went, Graham, can we talk to each other? Not between these two. Yeah, that would make things so much easier. And he went, that's fine. And we literally just sort of like went and sat next to each other and pushed our solicitors to the side and just said, look, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk to the judge. You write it down. We sign it and agree between the two of us. We just want a formal, proper one, because we had obviously a mortgaged house together. We had content of home together. We had children together. Now, I'm a rare woman. I'm a very rare woman. And actually, it was the other way. Yes, the kids left with me, but actually, Graham kept the home. Graham kept the contents. I think I took the boys' beds and the sofa. And then I took a £25,000 out of the mortgage to be able to move forward. Now, this then caused problems because I was a mother on benefits with disability, and then it went all to my fees, blah, 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 blah. So, bit of a challenge. It managed to get us a car from, second hand, and it managed to get us sustained into private rented, and I wasn't in a situation to buy, and not even with 24,000 could I put down on a mortgage, because I didn't have an income. I would have been a wife, I'd been a wife. I would have been a wife and a mother. That was my job. That was my role. I had what is very, very, very rare in this world, as much as Graham and I separated, Graham is a rare gem in this world. Graham is of the mentality that the man is the provider and the protector and goes to work, and the mother, remains at home with the children, and he buys the boots for the mother, buys the clothes for the mother, makes sure, when she's pregnant, she's got maternity clothes, and she's got proper bras and, proper padding, and he's one of them men. I didn't, even when I was married, I didn't know what council tax was. I didn't know how much our rent was. I didn't know what our bills were. I didn't even have to worry or even think about these sort of things. Yes, we did it together when we were first, because I can even remember having to juggle checks, through the monthly payday to get through the last sort of few weeks and stuff like that. My boys always had trainers. I didn't have to think about those things. The food was always... Every Saturday, Graham and I both went and did. He was the one with the credit card. I was the one that put things in, and he put the bits that he wanted in. And I never had to worry. As a woman, as a mother, I never had to worry. All our needs were all met by my husband. He's a rare, very, very, very rare man. The majority of mothers are sitting on benefits while... men are running around and doing what they want and trying not to put joint claims together because, they want to play the system, and they keep mums in a very, very vulnerable situation. And then the worst thing about this is, in that separation, if you have been a mum who's been a stay-at-home mum for the children, whether the children, in my terms with Graham, Liam was 6 and Daniel was 3 when we separated. My children went to nursery. I was one of them mums when I was married that, got up in the morning, made sure the house was tidy, went to the gym, was able to do what I want. I was able to go shopping, to go for a coffee and a cake was, it wasn't something that my mind worried about. I focused on the boys. My job was to be a mother. That was my role. So when I wake up in the morning, well, actually with the EDS side, this is where the challenges started coming in, because with somebody like me, I've told people it is like waking up being the tin man with a hangover, and trying to move. For people who know me know that my diagnosis is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. That means I sublux and dislocate my body, and I live with what would in this country be known a hidden disability. Also diagnosed Asperger's, dyslexic, blah, 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 blah. So in order for a mother to be a mother, then a mother has to be supported financially. So when somebody chooses to have a child with somebody, you are also saying, you are the mother of my child, therefore all your needs are met because your role is to be a mother. Okay. Now, if that mother does want to work and has a purpose and has lifestyles, now being a mother means being yourself. So if you paint, then you will still paint, because your children will be painting while you're painting. They will be creating their masterpiece while you're creating theirs. You know, if your children like to play football, then you as a mother are the ones that pack up the picnic, take the balls down, do all the bits and stuff like that, and your children get to enjoy. We're meant to have a life. Now, unfortunately, we've all been brainwashed, as I call it, conditioned to be part of the rat race. And now what's happened is government like the fact that they want, you know, people in a house that have got 2 incomes, that have got 2 cars, that have got 2 things going, because at the end of the day that creates 2 taxes and 2 income supports. With that, they actually like the fact that part of the divide and control is to make sure that the father isn't around, is to make sure that they have separate properties, because with that separate property becomes more money. At the end of the day, if we divided us as United Kingdom and said males, females, so the males are the money makers, the women are the ones that stay at home. Don't forget the Bible says that women stay with their father and their mother, and then they go to their husband. So it is the mother and the father that keeps the woman, yeah, so the father, and then he gives her away when he gets married, and then she comes under the authority of her husband. So she is provided for by her husband. That is the biblical way of doing it. We live in a world right now where people go out to clubs, get in the back bedroom, fuck in the back of the car, give a blowjob down the back of the clubs, maybe fuck one of the DJs, you know, behind the booth or whatever, bouncers swinging it on, couple of people out at night, and, you know, oops, upside the head, there's a baby here. That baby hasn't come in with any planning and preparation and actually taking on what is the role of having a child. The role of having a child is to raise, nurture, and bring your child into the world to be happy, healthy, and thriving, to be who they were created to be. It's not to be worrying about how you pay for your nappies this week and have you got milk for your child, and, you know, well, actually, I'm only on income support. Well, I'm not actually, I'm on universal credits, but, you know, I'm only on, I've got to go to work, mate. You know, how am I meant to? You dump them into nursery, dump them into school. Let some fuckwit teachers. How many people even know, you know, their teachers' first names? You know, do you know anything about their mum, their dad? Do you know anything about their values, their beliefs? Do you know how they discipline your children? Do you know how they communicate with your children? Do they ever call them stupid? Do they ever say that's stupid? You know, do they ever put your children down in class? You know, are your children being bullied in class by other people? Are your children even actually getting any quality of education when there's 30, 40 children in a class to one person, when they could be at home with mum, dad, living a life and actually understanding how the monopoly system works in order to be able to thrive as a family? You know, majority of people are not bringing children into stable, and hands up, hypocrite. You know, I've done it myself, fucked up myself, been through divorces myself. My mess is a message. I can, you know, I take personal responsibility of my own life in any way, shape or form. You know, even today, what a fuck up walking all the way down there knowing that I had to come all the way back in time for the kids to bed. It was just Elijah wanted to go and see the boats, and trying to explain to Elijah, we need to get in the car. But unfortunately, the car doesn't have any petrol in, because it's a little bit further than just a nice little walk, you know, in the evening before bed. But, you know, we're going through stuff with Elijah at the moment, because he doesn't understand this thing that goes on between me and Dean. You know, Dean comes here. At the end of the day, we have a joint tenancy together. He's gone. He's made his bed. He's laying in it. And I'm here with all the responsibilities of everything while he's out there doing what he wants, throwing me the odd 30 or 50k quid here and there, you know, and telling the boys he's going to come and see him soon. I get he's got to work. I get he's got to do what he's want. But at the end of the day, you know, when Graham got up and went to work, I didn't have to think about my rent. I didn't have to think about the food. I certainly wasn't going to food banks. I certainly wasn't going to charity shops. I didn't need to. If I went to charity shops, it would be because I was looking for, you know, photo frames or just something a little bit different. I didn't have to go to charity shops. In fact, I don't think Elijah, Aaron, Liam and Daniel ever shopped anything lower than Next. You know, we used to row about, you know, mother care, whether it was worth them I could pass the jeans on for a couple of extra quid just going to Next, you know what I mean? I can't imagine going into Next and spending that amount on clothes right now. I'm spending like 50p, 20p's on stuff. I mean, even this, check this out. Okay, it's not going up for sale for the price that I brought it, because I need to make some money. But, you know, people don't realise the situation I'm in, because, you know, I've got branded clothes and stuff like that. But look at this. I mean, this is one of my kids' jumpsuits. You know, it's an official Ralph Lauren polo thing, but it cost me 7 quid from a charity shop. You know, as a mother, I used to go and buy stuff like this brand new. I wouldn't think twice about spending 120 quid on something like this, because all I did was meet my children's needs. I never looked at the price of things. I just used to say to Graham, I've got to get the boys some wellies. You know, the puddles are out there, and he'd say, cool, go and get some wellies. And I used to go and buy some wellies. I didn't think about, you know, how much these wellies were. Fucking how can I really spend £10 on a pair of wellies? Have I got £10 for a pair of wellies? And the problem with this is the more and more and more that people in the UK are falling into this destitute poverty that is going on here in the UK. And we used to have top, middle and bottom. So we used to have, well, we sort of still do, but this is the tip that's going on. This is the tip that is going to be the biggest crash that has ever occurred in the UK ever. And people are all watching this going on, and all this stuff's going on. And I'm getting annoyed with Amber because she's posting things out that make people think that it's in support. I'm sharing with what's going on. Doesn't mean I agree with it in any way, shape or form. I have to say Amber is one of those people who's still learning. That's okay. But I need to be running in an elite model right now, because one of the challenges is, if you don't want minimum wage, don't have minimum education. It's as simple as that. However, the college degree and university degree is the biggest scam ever. And also, YouTube and libraries and Google have changed things now, where you don't have to go and get this long-term university degree where you're paying goodness knows how much back in student loans and then ending up in one cellular job for the rest of your life. Cryptocurrency is taking over things, Bitcoin's taking over things, internet stability is taking over things. I've been in the digital internet world for a long time, and it really annoys me because I don't have the tools right now to put everything back up the way that I need to, and I'm dependent on Amber at the moment, who, no disrespect to Amber, but doesn't know what the fuck she's doing, and is actually learning, and I will give her that. But all this could have been done a long time ago if I'd had the right team to do this. And I find this really, really, really frustrating. If I was sitting down now with a web designer, social media master, and manager, and all these people going, boom, this is the strategy, this is the thing, this is what's going to happen, this is how we're going to pull people in, this is how we're going to market it, this is how we're going to promote it, this is the end result, this is the dates that we've got to go on. I mean, I can't even get Amber to understand why I keep telling her about the Monday's child is full of woe, blah, 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 why I follow follow the education calendar, why timelines have to be changed over. In fact, there should be 3 or 4 timelines a day. You know, why certain quotes should be going up, how algorithms work on Google. At the end of the day, and one person sitting here that in 2013 stood there on Downing Street looking around at what was meant to be, you know, 6,000 people attending a Stolen Children of the UK rally outside Downing Street on the 17th to the 21st of July. I was laying in my bed. Mark's here. I was literally laying in my bed. I'd been given the final orders, so literally I moved in to save the family after coming out of Aaron and Faith father, and he had been going off and not turning up on Monday nights, which is when I used to have what was family night, and I used to make a meal and he wouldn't turn up, and you know, things were getting a bit strange, and he'd disappear for a couple of days, and then he'd come back drunk and, you know, on down in goodness knows how many fucking Valium strips and methadone, and you know, I was finding spoons in his decorating pockets because he was a decorator, and I was starting to remember things from the film Trainspotting, with spoons having brown marks around them, and I started asking questions, and every time I asked a question I ended up with a smashed up face. You know, I'd carrying his baby while I used to beat you on the sofa, and I was the one that took him to A&E when he beat the shit out of me on the sofa, to the point that, you know, my shoe of my boot went through his leg and he ended up with septicemia. But I was the one that took him to A&E, having to say that, you know, there was a pub fight that went on and I got knocked over and all this shit, and lying to people about what was going on, and, you know, all of that sort of stuff. So, you know, I'll be laying on the bed like this as he's going out the back of me, and literally coming out with big egg on the back of my hand, because I had my hands over the top and I had an egg on one side and lost all the side of my hair on one side. I have a scar on here where he put his glass in my face, and so yeah, it was a really, really, really shitty time. If the police are called by your neighbours because a woman is shouting and screaming, there was one particular occasion with the police where I'd gone to Tuesday Bible study with King's Church, and Stephen had sent me messages to say, if you don't get home now, I'm going to fucking kill you. And when I got home, he wouldn't let me in the house. And it's my home, per se. I'd lived there prior to him moving in with me and us having Aaron. And Aaron was 6 months old. And this was when I really started to notice things. And I looked through the window and there was a methadone bottle on the side. Aaron was asleep, like, next to him. And he was refusing to let me go in the house. And it was the first time I'd sort of rang the police and just said, look, you know, I've come home. He's not letting me in the house. There's cans on the floor. What the fuck do I do? And because I was ringing the police, he let me in. And then he basically said to me, if the police turn up here and move me, I'm coming back and I'm killing you. So when the police turned up, I was like this neurotic fucking mum, like everything's okay. And he was as calm as fuck. Even when the police were stood looking at me, he's going. So I'm stood in front like, what the fuck? Like, seriously, what's going on? And I just had people turning up at my house as well with knives. And I lived in a 3-bedroom detached suburban home. You know, I had everything. I'd had stability. I'd been in university. I was running Unity in the community. We'd just come back from Egypt. In fact, I was showing Graham earlier on. I was showing where is it put it? I don't want to know what I've done with it. Oh. I was showing Graham earlier on, you know, sort of what sort of lifestyle that, you know, my boys, I can't find the other picture, it was up in Egypt, but, you know, Liam and Daniel, you know, were raised, you know, they love their mum, great family. It was just that, you know, I was an EDS mum, and then I'd been separated from Graham since 2004. I'd been to university. I'd set up Unity in the community. I had a home. I'd just got back from Egypt. And we'd had holidays. You know, I had quite stability in my life. And then I met Stephen, and then I brought everything to an end after he completely levered me. And then I found out I was pregnant with Aaron. And funny enough, social got involved, right? And it was probation and social who actually begged me to give him another chance, even because he was supported by the drug clinic. But the drug clinic used to fuck everything up, and they asked me to sort of like, they let him confess to me everything had been going on, why it had been going on. They knew, they saw the bruises all over me. They saw the fact that he put a knife to me. They saw the fact that, you know, he kicked the shit out of my dog that killed my dog. He ended up with a twisted stomach because he kicked him. Max, rest my dog's soul. I laid with him on the floor for 3 days while he was dying. You know, I've never actually talked about Stephen's stuff, and I don't, and this is the reason why I don't. And I did take him to court to force him to be a father, you know, but it was contact centres, and, you know, he turned up with his new girlfriend who used to roll fags in my social services meetings, and, you know, 1-0 just because he got a contact centre to see his kid. And it was like, come on, you're turning up at 10 o'clock in the morning with fucking beer cans, and you think this is acceptable? You think this is right? You think it's okay to be pushing, you know, a 6-week-old baby down the road? And I used to go mental at him because the boys used to love him, wanted to go play football with him, and then I'd say, you know, no drinking, and then he'd go over to the fucking shop and he'd get his fucking horrible fucking bullshit cider, and he'd go over and then he'd start embarrassing my kids by getting drunk and, you know, completely humiliating my boys in their lives around their kids, because he'd be the drunk. He'd be the one walking down the street with a fucking can in his hand, drinking down the road. And, you know, and it was horrible. This is how this art piece come out, by the way. And if you see what Mark is doing here in Portsmouth, we had a really detailed conversation about this art piece that I wanted to do to portray the mindset of somebody who gets so wrapped into this place and what it does to the people around them. And I said to Stephen, you know, while you continue what you're doing, you are dragging me, Aaron, and Faith, and my 2 boys down to the pits of hell. You're dragging us down. And I described it as in The Little Mermaid, when the shipwreck's under there and it's all dark and dingy. And I'm going, we're up here on the beach playing volleyball, happy. And you're down there running around for crack and smack and methadone pits and having to go to all these clinics and these meetings, and you've brought social services into our lives. I'd never had children's social care come into my life. I'd always worked with adult because I had an SEN at university. I loved my social worker. It was because of my social worker I was even able to go to university. It was because of my social worker and my disability support worker that I had a life, because otherwise someone like me would be at home on a fucking disability. I loved my social worker. And even when children's social care came in when I was in Preston, you know, they were lovely. They were very supportive. They were very supportive of the fact that Stephen went to the respect course, but then he was expecting me to drive him there because he didn't have a driving license and all of this. And they're trying to get him to be independent. And he's got this complete codependency on me. And that's not a healthy relationship. It takes for 2 people to be the pillars, to join it up, to be the full goal. You know, you can't have, you know, dependent relationships. Dependent relationships are not healthy. There is healthy and unhealthy relationships. Now, the problem is, in this country, there is no support for any couple that has crossed the line in physical violence. Now, I have never ever, until this chapter of my life, ever been somebody who would ever hurt somebody who put me in. I've always been what I call the cowering Labrador in the corner that just curls up and takes the beating. You know, when Stephen used to walk in and he used to go, I used to know, I want to talk to you. And my kids used to sit there and go, Mum, don't go. Please, Mum, don't go. He used to go, now, I want to talk to you. And my boys used to be terrified of what that used to mean, because they've seen me, you know, get pounded around the head, glass in the face. They've seen me come home to art pieces in the house that he'd created, things that he'd put up in the house to be quite nasty to me. When Peter Andre and Katie Price were going through their divorce, he put Katie's pictures all over the place, and Peter Andre Garrett saying he was Peter Andre and I was the bitch Katie, and everybody would see who the real cunt was. And that's what he used to say. You know, so it's a bit difficult, because I sort of understand where Stephen was coming from as well, because, you know, he'd been beaten by his dad. He'd got trapped in this world. He was meant to be a left star, all-star football player, and then his dad ended up beating him up prior to him going into his first game and shaming him and making it difficult. In fact, we had no left striker all the way through, you know, England, and that, well, he wasn't there, basically. That was his place that he was meant to, and he got beaten instead. So, and then actually when we got together, his father went to prison for abusing his sister, and it sent him back. So underneath all this shit that happened, I can sit there and say Stephen beat the shit out of me, but it doesn't make him a nasty, evil man. It just means that he was riddled with so much trauma and demons, and people tend to take it out on the person closest to them. The problem is marriage is meant to be for life. You can't be with somebody for the rest of your life without an argument, potentially a fight. In fact, there's a great video. I can't remember what it's called. It's a music video, and it's about relationships. And literally in them relationships, it's and it shows, you know, the occasional argument, the great sex, the make-up sex, the great memories, the days out, and it even shows them one black eye. And it's actually where she's punched him in it, and he's the one with the black eye. And what this country has done is basically put couples that argue, couples that disagree, couples that raise their voices, couples that shout at each other, couples who use unhealthy tools or strategies in communicating with somebody, to somebody who has ended up pushing someone, to somebody who's ended up giving a bit of a bitch slap, to a man who's ended up knocking past someone, to somebody who's ended up, you know, will you just shut up, leave me alone, to her grabbing him swinging around and saying, I said shut up. And next thing, she's gone flying across the fucking floor. She's sitting on her fucking ass going, you know, and then she's running off to the fucking police, and then wondering why, what the fuck's going on, when she's been the woman who's just been flirting away with some man, giving a fucking blowjob down the back of the fucking club, and then going, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And he's saying, fuck off, go away, you whore. And, you know, that then turns into something else. I feel very sorry for these men, by the way, and I really don't like these women that do this. I've seen some really nasty things along this way. I've even actually seen a woman 5 minutes before her dad has turned up at the door go and punch herself in the face and drop herself down the stairs to rush herself off to hospital, not allowing him to take the kids or be in the house, to make sure that he couldn't see the kids. I physically saw this happen. I have seen women who use and claim domestic violence purely so they can get legal aid. I've seen women tell men, if you come to the door, I'll have you arrested. I'm really appalled in what I've found, actually, with every piece of research and with every hypothesis that someone like me runs. So we run a question through SBS data, psychology degree, all of that. everybody sort of thinks that it's going to go a certain way, and they think that this is going to be the outcome. I've actually been seriously shocked and appalled at the amount of women out there who are absolute dogs and slags, who get fuck anybody they like. They probably actually couldn't maybe even tell you who the father was. Not really that bothered, really, who the father is. They were just interested in a kid. But then all of a sudden, there's a responsible man there going, look, you know, we got drunk, we fucked about, but actually that's my baby. And she's sort of going, well, it could be so-and-so's because I got fucked on Friday and Saturday night, love. Yeah! You know, fuck knows who the father is, sitting on Jerry McKyle waiting for the DNA testing. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, this is breaking men's hearts. I'm seeing men crying their eyes out because they've got a baby coming into the world and they can't even see their child coming into the world because her mum's saying this and his sister's doing that and his brother's threatening. You know, when I spent a lot of time with Chris, and I spent a lot of time with Chris when we were doing, there was a lot of us through New Fathers for Justice and all that sort of stuff that we had Christmas at Cameron's, and I didn't make it to a lot of the ones because I was down in some of the meetings, so they held the fort while I was doing some other stuff, but I made it to a lot of it, and it was like 50 days out. That's like David Cameron's constitution. Obviously I got arrested on David Cameron's election night, but I got to run with a lot of dads, right? So, and I name a few, you know, Paul, as you know, wrote Help in the art gallery at the Queen's, and Martin Matthews and that, you know, scaled Parliament and things like that. You know, Archie and all of us took Hyde Park Gate. What else did we not do? We got up to quite a lot through 2014. In fact, from Christmas 2013, because obviously I broke my gag July 2013. And then obviously it went quite big with my commitment to prison coming into October. And then by October, all of a sudden, there was all these networks that all decided that we were all going to go off and do one tail stings absolutely everywhere. So we had a father up on a bridge, and then we had somebody on top of one of the judges' roofs, and then we had somebody taking and dropping a banner down here. And, you know, we were trying to build up to what Sam calls operation something. I'm not going to say too much because we've pretty much worked out all the way down from Scotland all the way down to the bottom of the UK, which funny enough is where I am right now. And at 10:30 tomorrow, Andrew is going to be arriving here at our family courts to go and hand in some parent alienation things. I get a bit annoyed at these ones that just stand with parent alienation, because the problem with everything to do with money is everything has to come under a branch of the tree. So a branch, a bank branch, and, you know, a subheading, and that's where the pot of money goes. So you have parent alienation, denied contact, long-term foster care, special guardianship, forced adoption. Well, sorry, it's not forced adoption, is it? It's adoption. Adoption as the best option, darling. Must find them a forever family. And then obviously don't even forget as well, there's respite in this. Now, me as a mother, especially as a single mother, should be allowed to, you know, the normalities of, you know, I've had an indicative budget, there isn't a father around. And even when you do have a physical condition, I'm not necessarily my husband's responsibility with my condition. He still has to work. It's a lot of responsibility. We have in this country carers allowance and things like that. The challenge that we have is, obviously, you've got things like footballers, right, who are on shitloads of money. Obviously, a majority of it is sponsorship, things like that. Then you've got nurses and police officers and all fire people. They're all on, you know, 30, 40,000 a year. MPs on 60,000. So look at the spin of it already, right? You've got Great Britain, yeah, which is basically run by the Queen, who doesn't get any salary. Like, she doesn't go to work at all. Well, she does. She smiles and waves. And she actually has a lot. She's got a lot of charities. She is the patron of many charities. Probably, I think it's 150 charities or something the Queen has. And she goes out and she sees her people and she's the ambassador for it and stuff like that. So, and each of the royals all have their own. But ultimately, each of those charities only pays them a salary. So they could go out, buy their Tampax. And yes, the Queen used to have Tampax. She actually had sex and conceived. Oh, Prince Andrew. Won't go there right now, will we? Isn't Prince Andrew her husband? And I've got Economy 7 heating, guys, and we're just all coming down. Everyone thinks because I play with my nose and stuff that I'm a coke addict. No, I'm not been there. Dabbled at the Radio 1 big weekend when I was working there in 2007, and I think I threw someone's pill across the road and said, don't ever fucking hand me that shit. Not drug dependent. Yes, I do smoke weed. You know about my on and off weed, THC, CBTs. I'm actually a cannabis precedent case for medicinal purposes, and you know, if I go into hospital, go into A&E, then I'm allowed to do whatever I like. So you know, it's either that, tramadol, or morphine. It's renowned services know it. It's never been an issue. Even with Aaron and Faith, it was never an issue. There was even actually a statement by the judge that said that he wasn't able to take that into consideration. In fact, a lot of it is what kicked it off in Save the Family, because my discs had gone from slipping over, and I'm going, I need to medicate, and I also need, you know, to go into A&E and get this sorted. It's going to be, what, 48 hours I need for my son to be able to stay on site. I mean, if I'd known all of these people on site properly at the beginning, it would have been different, because, you know, between the lot of us, we would have sorted something. Do you know what I mean? But you can't in situations like that, because there is drug issues, there is, you know, alcohol issues, there is trauma from stuff, you know. But you know what, even in Save the Family, right, and even Mark will tell you, I was the mother goose home, you know. I'm not judgmental, and I love everybody that was on it. And even Mark will tell you, we all suspected somebody on site of being a perpetrator of child sexual abuse. We all had concerns with it. We all were raising those concerns. That's what brought me into sort of saying to Social in the first place, look, you know, I can't take this risk. And I did my normal thing with people, and I say, you know, I'm your doctor, and you come to me and I tell you that, you know, your life expectancy is another 24 hours, but your insurance is going to pay off. How would you spend your last 24 hours? And I do this so quickly that people will roll off very quickly their natural, spontaneous things that they want to do. And a couple of things that he said really concerned me. And that's how I find out the core of you in this game. This is where a lot of it comes from. And after Social came in and Aaron and Faith were taken off site, he went on to abuse a girl on site. In fact, he went on to, got arrested and come back and did it to somebody else as well. And this was somebody who'd had his son taken. And this is when I first started asking questions and started asking staff, because I didn't know that people had their kids taken off them. I knew that people abused their children, went to prison, children went to, you know, other family members or maybe into foster care. I didn't know. And this was, when I was at Save the Family, this was a real sliding space for me, because I'd never been in this situation before. I'd never had these beliefs. Don't forget, I turned up in an Audi. Yeah, I had black bin bags. I wasn't a matching briefcase person. I had a lot of stuff in storage at my friend David. My friend David played for Portsmouth Football Club and England in 1966. He had 15 minutes in the World Cup. You know, he had a lovely big house. All my stuff was in storage. So, you know, this was quite a big crash. In fact, the police even said to me, Kelly, you've got to get off site. You don't belong here. You're being bullied on site, right? Because there was one family, and I'm not going to mention her name. There was two families, right? One of them, Kelly, actually follows me. I don't know about the other one, but there was a couple of different situations going on. But after my kids were taken, I had a mum basically threatening her kids, if you don't shut up, I'm going to get social services to fucking take you away. Oh, God, I went mental, mate. I could hear it out my window, and I could hear it going on, and I nearly strung her up against the wall. But I went mental, and they brought the police to me again on that. In fact, I had the police come up to me pretty much every 3 or 4 days after Aaron and Faith were taken. When my anonymous masks turned up, you should have seen the police. They all, yeah, the whole place freaked out. Literally, my masks turned up, and I walked across the corridor as I was heading off down to London, and I walked with one on the front of my head and one at the back, and Liam had his on and one at the back, and we walked across the forecourt, and then I ended up with a whole set of police turning up and save the family. The problem is, I used to believe that there was this police organisation, and they had social workers there and mental health people and all of that, but they worked for the police, and they were what was called child protection. And then I knew we had youth workers and we had social workers, and I knew this because pretty much all my life I've always had social workers and stuff like that. If you're a child at school who is in social care, then straight away there is a budget for you at school, and it means at school then you attend more other things that other kids don't attend to. So you might have your social worker coming in to speak to you on one particular day, and you've got to go to a couple of meetings, so you get pulled out of your classroom to go and attend some meetings. You might have to go to the problem children's groups and stuff like that. And actually in 1994, they introduced what was called link workers into school, and this is what I started training to be. And then also all of a sudden Conservative came in and knocked all that out, and it disappeared, and it's never come back into schools anymore. And that's what I'm trying to bring back into schools. And I did. It's where I got my trophy and my certificate for business enterprise and all that stuff. And I did this whole program to learn lots of different tools and skills and stuff. And I was quite excited about this being my career. And paving the new way in how they were going to be influencing and educating youth. And I was really into all this youth coaching, hence why my first degree was in youth coach. And I've been a youth worker right the way to 3 to 24. So I'd been a youth worker from like 13. So I'd been like one of these council members and all of this sort of stuff at school and things like that. And I was always involved. I was always class captain. I was always, you know, if I hadn't got expelled, the other line I'd have been like, if it was America, like valedictorian and you know, prefect and all of that sort of stuff. So I was always, because I'm the gobby one, they always said she'll talk for Britain one day. Every teacher has said it. That girl's going to talk for Britain one day. Every headmaster has said, will you just shut up? You know, you talk for Britain. You could talk for Britain. I've had it my whole life. You could talk for Britain. You know, one day you will talk for Britain. And where was I going with all of this? Okay, so where I'm going with all of this is you're either independent or you're codependent. And I'm not talking about relationships here. I'm talking about the state. So what I find very funny with Yellow Jackets and a couple of the other things going on, and this is having a go at some of the dads now. I've been a bit harsh on some of the mums, but this is having a go at some of the dads. This is the dads that I don't like, that believe that they're footloose, fancy free to make cash off the record whenever they like, while mum sits in a council house and on benefits, and they can pretty much get on with their lives and have their cake and eat it. Fathers, as so say be it. Dump mum with maybe a couple of things every now and then, or probably absolutely nothing. These are the ones actually that completely and utterly abandon the mum and believe that the state should support the family and the children. Now, there are a lot of mums out there that are very strong. They'll become working mums. They won't be dependent on benefits. They'll go out there, they'll work their fucking asses off, and they'll keep their own home, and they'll manage with the children. Doesn't mean they can be mums. They actually work. They're not being a mum. Their children are being reared by the state. So therefore, you are dependent on the system. If you get up in the morning and you get the state to educate your children, you are codependent on the system. In fact, you are not taking responsibility of your duty as a parent, because it is your responsibility to educate your children. The reason that the education system exists was for the Industrial Revolution as childcare for the workers. And they put core curriculums in there. It wasn't that it was meant to be this thing where we, the people, have to take our children to school. We don't legally have to put our children into school. Did you know that? Our children, when children say, do I have to go to school? You lie to them. You lie to them. Yes, you have to go to school. No, they don't. And they don't like it around here because I'll tell them that. No, you don't. There are other options available to you. Your parents are too lazy to fucking teach you. Your parents don't want to take on the responsibility. And then what annoys me is a lot of these parents that do send their children to school are sitting at home on the benefits system anyway. So actually they have time to sit and educate their children. They you know, what they're doing all day, watching fucking reruns of Jerry McKyle, Good Morning bloody TV, and waiting for EastEnders Coronation Street and whatever at the end of the night. Oh, you just screwed your life up, honey. You're going to go to your grave achieving fuck all. Do you know what I mean? What a waste of a life. Like, seriously. Wow. Oh, dear. Oh, my goodness. How many years are you going to do that for? You're going to go to your grave with what? Achieving what? Fulfilling your life with what? And this annoys me because then we're breeding a bunch of children, and this is pretty much what Tony Blair was saying, and this is where it all speeded up. Now, the video that goes out with Tony Blair, by the way, is actually edited. Yeah, so the people who have put this video out when Tony Blair says, you know, taken from the womb, they've edited it. So that is not actually the real statement of what Tony Blair said, and they're fear-mongering you and pointing. Now, Tony Blair's a cunt anyway, we know this. In fact, the judge have just prevented him from being done for murdering all these people in Iraq. Push the button. But anyway, my point being is you can either, as the birth certificate says, take responsibility for your child to provide the shelter, the warmth, the clothing, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't say specifically, but that's what it's saying. So it's basically saying you, the mother, carry the child in the womb. You will give birth to it. The father will be there. The father will provide and protect the mother. Yes. Don't forget the mother, guys. She's the one who carried the kids. What do you expect her to do? Shoot the baby out and go back cleaning and working and fuck the child into childcare? You know, she has to be at home, honey. She has to eat food, honey. She needs boots, honey. She needs sanitary pads, darling, because I have to sometimes put baby wipes inside me. In fact, I ended up with a virus because I'd forgot to actually remove it out on the last day, because some days I can't even buy Tampax. So my man is really providing for the mother of his child, isn't she? When actually I haven't had any maternity clothes. I don't even have bought knickers in goodness knows how long. You know, Mark will tell you, you know, I literally, on the day that I was evicted from Save the Family, I couldn't undo my kid's bedroom. I couldn't pack my bags. I handed them keys and said, you bunch of fucking cunts, you sort it. You go dismantle my kid's room. You go through my kid's stuff. I gave my bikes to the kids, my kids' bikes on the site. They wouldn't let me take anything. Social wouldn't let me give my kids anything. You know, I keep getting all these letters from the adopters. Oh, he's getting a bike next year. What do you mean he's getting a bike next year? He had a bike. In fact, he had a beautiful blue BMX. He had the elite of his age BMX because he was loving that life. You know, Faith had a little pink doodah. In fact, it wasn't, he had the BMX actually, but the blue one was the mountain bike. I can remember it. But he did have a BMX as well. You know, Faith had a little push along, you know, 3-wheeler, and Liam had his mountain bike. Daniel's dad got his mountain bike. So, because Daniel had like all the gears, the 23 gears and all of that. So we let Dad do that. Dad can afford to whack out goodness knows how many grand on a bike. You know, so here, prime example. Yeah. I left with Graham with the house. Graham has obviously married somebody else. They both work. You know, I don't know what they've got now, but it's the BMW and the Audi life in the big homes, while I've always been in private rental, raising the boys, you know, trying to rebuild the mother, you know, trying to get the career and the education to be able to be the one, you know, rather than sitting on benefits and providing. But I've always been lucky because I have a disability, so it means I'm not on, you know, as less. And there are people that will screw the system to deliberately come live with a disability, mate. Then you tell me what struggling is. Then you tell me the difficulty of getting up and go to work and stuff like that. You cunts who screw the system just so you can get a little bit more money. You're going to hell, honey. When you leave your 70 years, 60 years, 50 years, 100 years on this planet, mate, oh, you're going an eternity in fucking hell. Do you know this? Whether you believe it or not, mate, when we leave this planet, there's one way or another. You fail the test or you pass the test. It's as simple as that. You know, let's hope that people really understand what's going on right now. Let's hope that people understand that this isn't about global warming. Extinction Rebellion actually isn't even about global warming. That's not what they're telling you, actually. You're seeing a few things. They are telling you about a report that has come out, but it's actually not about right hand, left hand, you know, everything's ever perceived what they are. You know, you should do some research on what the red sort of represents. But you know, and yes, there are people behind it. In fact, it's come out today, by the way, just to put in, that Bill Gates and Melinda Gates have been pulled up in this Epstein thing in the properties. Now, what they can't say at the moment is whether or not it is on these flight paths, ones that have disappeared all of a sudden. All of a sudden, the flight paths on these occasions where the children were actually on the flights with them, being that passports will say how old people are. So even like, you know, yeah, a few other things. But anyway, they're now waiting to confirm because the butler has started speaking out about what's been going on and stuff like that. So it's always the butler that comes out in the end, isn't it? It's the silent one stood in the corner that sees everything, knows everything, watches everything. But at the end of the day, they go and serve these people for the paycheck at the end of the week that goes and puts the bread and butter on their family's table. A lot of people stay very silent about stuff that is going on because their pay scale is more important. As I said to the police at the door, I'm sorry, but I work way above your pay scale. I'm not interested in your pay scale. I'm interested in the truth and integrity and what's right. Now, I'm talking to another journalist, and I was watching his live earlier on. So the live that is shared before mine on my crack book here. So if you're on YouTube, you'd have to come onto my crack book, which is Kelly Cotton. Follow me, like me, whatever you need to do on those social media remits. Subscribe to make sure you can get the videos. But the video below me, I haven't done a write-up into it yet, is Ryan. And Ryan is a journalist, and he's talking about social services in that video. So I'll do a proper write-up at some point because I haven't watched all of the video yet, but I'm talking to Ryan and we're just texting. So, and I think he's come up as watching. So in fact, let me just have a look. I'm basically trying to bring just in some of the comments. I wait later because it overloads me. And what I did say I was going to do was check them. I do go through them later, and I'm sorry, at the end of the day, I'm not here to take money off you. If I was here to take money off you, I would be sitting here going, oh, hello, Paula. Welcome for joining us. Oh, Mark. Hello, how are you, Mark? How's your day been today? Because I'm interested in taking your money off you for coaching. I ain't interested in that right now. Yes, I'm a coach. Yes, I would love for you to pay me, but I'm not going to take a penny off of any of you parents at all on this stuff. Like I said, it's not about that for me. I'll find another way. If it's because I can just get the money out of my book, then I'll do it that way. I can't afford to sit down and talk to parents and say, right, okay, it's a £5,000 initial consultation with me, and then we sit down and we work out a schedule over, be it 18 months, blah blah blah. It takes 21 days to change a habit, so I tend to stay with someone from a minimum of 21 days. So, but then what I do with my clients is I have what's called an agreement of expectations. Social services also, and the courts also have an agreement of expectations. You go to a job, you have an agreement of expectations. The reason that the majority of people come out of social care, I don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. There is a chance that I'm going to have the police here at some point. There's a chance that I'm going to have social knocking on my door. I'm shitting myself, guys. And the only reason I'm shitting myself is I haven't got a phone properly. I still can't go on video tomorrow. So I'm just going to go down as a guest tomorrow. I'm not going to do anything. This is, this is about, parent alienation. Yes, forced adoption is parent alienation. But they're talking about, mothers with double standards that have alienated fathers, and I'm not there to tread on their toes with that. There's a lot of mothers that support it and involved, but, I'm really about the whole system and structure. I'm about adult social care, so, children's social care. I'm about the education system, the NHS, the whole multi-agency of it that is meant to enable and support somebody who's going through adversity and struggles. Writing people and basically taking their kids. On one end of the spectrum, we've got offshore and illegal things. So come back to the balance of popularity, that we are a United Kingdom. Our MPs are paid 60,000. Then people are paid, 36,000, 24,000, 19,000, 16, 13, and down to the minimum wage, 11,000 or whatever it is. Universal credits is below minimum wage, by the way. The whole point of being on benefits is it's meant to bring you in line with who you are and what you're about. It's not done individually, as it's meant to be under indicative budgets. It's meant to be tailored for individual needs. But obviously, we live in a world where so-and-so got a car and I didn't. They got their wheelchair paid for and I didn't. I had to buy my wheelchair. But they're getting some extra bits on there. Did you see they've got a gardener? We haven't got a gardener. The budget is, they're paid for that. Oh, fuck off, you cunt. They might have a Downs kid and you fucking haven't. You go look after a fucking Downs kid and tell me how fucking easy it is. They might have a cerebral palsy freaking husband that they look after. They might actually do something really nice. So get off your high horse. Don't stand out there troweling fucking government when you take their money off of them, because you're not taking it from government. You're taking it from the people that go out to work every day, that goes into a pot to support the vulnerable, the genuine vulnerable. It's not meant to be there for fuck the mother and fuck them off and leave them in the benefit system while you don't take responsibility for your sperm. So to those that do take responsibility, and you're the ones here, you're the ones that are here after your kids have been taken, going, whoa, that was a fucking car crash. I don't know what the fuck's just gone on. It's gone from a social worker knocking on my door to, we've had cause and concern, to all of a sudden, this rectum enema coming in and shoving their fist right up your fucking ass and completely sodomizing you, gang raping you, pinning you down with the judge's accountant, the judge's team and stuff. That's probably another fucking 25 people. Then you've got the barrister plus his secretary plus his office receptionist. Then you've got the solicitor. Then you've got the solicitor's PA. Then you've got the CAF officer. Then you've got the CAF officer's solicitor, the CAF officer's barrister. Then you've got all their adjoining branches off of them. Then you've got the mother, who's then got a solicitor, who's then got a barrister. Then you've got the father, who's got a solicitor and who's got a barrister. Then you've got all third party what's it called? You have to be made parties to proceedings. That's what a lot of people don't know, which is why grandparents get alienated, because they haven't made themselves parties to proceedings. You can't just stand in court and say, hey, I'm a grandmother, I'm here. You have to actually file and say, hey, I'm a grandmother, I'm here. If you're not parties to proceedings, you're not part of the court. And if you're not part of the court, you're not part of the support system. And this is where a lot of people are going wrong. And that's because not every family member in your life has 250 quid to throw down to say, hey, I'm here. So, we've got this whole monopoly and capitalism that's going on in the fact that there's these two parents with their children, and yes, both parents may work, or one parent may work, or both parents may be on benefits, or one may be living somewhere and working while the other is living somewhere on benefits. Either way, they've got to go into a court remit because social have pulled them in. If they're on benefits, they get legal aid, which means they're fucked from day one. Your solicitor and barrister is never going to represent you to the standards that they should do. That's fact. Then you've got parents that have got to go and pay for it. Do you know it costs £10,000 for a finding of facts? So yes, the courts may turn around and say, yes, I can see there is inconsistent information between your former partner, and actually there seems to be a bit of an issue with this paperwork. I'm quite happy to do a finding of facts. Right, could you please go and pay the admin the £10,000 for this to be done? That would be absolutely amazing. And then fathers stand there and go, and then they can't go any further. And they say, well, if you can't pay for that, we can't do it. Then we have to go based on the information that already exists. I was in the same situation with finding the facts too. Most of us are all in that situation. We could all go and do fact finders in our paperwork and judicial reviews. You know what I mean? It'd be very easy, but you need 150,000 if you want to pay the team to go in there, or you've got to go and do it yourself. Now, the challenge is if you go to the royal courts, you can't go into the courts by yourself. It has to be a barrister in there because they're in a chambers, which means you can't go in there. And these are lots of different problems. I've gone over 5 minutes over my hour already. And what I want to try to do is start now getting to the root of this tree with social care, because it's multi-agency, and we, the parents that have had our kids taken, are still rabbits trapped in the headlight. We're still foxes trapped in the headlights, which means that we can be very blinkered and very narrow-minded, and we're so just dealing with our own trauma and our own grief that we really can only see here. I'm in quite a bit of a different situation than some people because I come from a different perspective. I suppose being an Aspie helps me tremendously with something like this, and being somebody who's already a coach. I mean, one of the greatest things about Morris Goodman, who was the person who got exploded in the aeroplane and was in hospital and made the decision to walk out of hospital, was he was already a coach and NLP person. So he had the tools first. If he hadn't have been one of those people, he wouldn't have walked out of hospital for Christmas, because he wouldn't have had the tools to do that. The majority of the parents here don't have the tools. The majority of parents here do not know what a Section 20 is, do not know what a Section 47 is, do not know what a Section 17 is, do not know what any section is. Majority of parents here don't know the process that you go through in social care. They don't know that there's a 14-day, a 21-day, things have to be done within certain things. They don't know the process. When a rabbit is coming into a road, or a fox or anything like that. Now let's take a fox as a prime example. Say a fox is walking up the road. Now, foxes are in a normal habitat of woodlands and fields and all of this. This roads and cars is a little bit inhumane to a fox, because this is not part of its environment. This is a man-made thing. So all of a sudden, this fox, who's got its cubs over there in its home, goes off, tries to find whatever foxes eat and stuff like that, to go back and enjoy its life and go and do what it was. And all of a sudden, there's a light, and the fox goes, that fox can't return to where it was going, because the moment that's happened, it's just completely traumatized it. It spins around in trauma. Have you ever seen a fox in traumatized? It's actually quite horrible to see. And obviously a lot of them get knocked over and killed. But the fact from that is once our children were taken, we are in disenfranchised grief. We don't get to heal. We're basically in groundhog. We're reliving the trauma pretty much all the time, or we're suppressing the trauma. Every parent here who's had a child taken can understand what I'm going to say to you right now. And that's even while I'm talking to you right now. I have memories going off about Aaron and Faith, or sometimes I can be doing something and I might just notice the clock and it's like, 3:10, and all of a sudden I'll be thinking, oh, Faith and Aaron are somewhere, and I'll try to imagine a table and a thing, and I think, oh, they're just, I wonder what coat they're putting on, what colour coat has Aaron and Faith got, I'm not a teacher, and I like try to connect from my heart to my kids and stuff like that, and and sometimes we can just sort of drift off, or it might just be that we're walking down the road and actually we're just focused on what we're going to do at this particular point, and then all of a sudden, a little girl walks past and this blonde hair flicks. I'm talking about my daughter here. Well, not my daughter, but a girl out there that reminds me of my daughter, and that can put you into secondary trauma. So we have to accept that we don't know everything. We don't really understand what is going on. We can listen to lots of people's different points of views, but actually we don't have, well, actually I have done the research, and I knew a lot of this before I even come into it as well. So if you don't believe that on Halloween night that there is going to be the biggest ritual ever, then ask yourself something. Google world's witches put a spell on Trump, right? That will prove to you that there are witches that do this stuff, right? It's in the mainstream papers. They put hex on him or something like that. Didn't work very well, did it? But basically, those witches had to come together to perform a ritual. Within those rituals, there are particular things that they need. Even in the Bible, it was the blood of a lamb. It was to sacrifice a lamb. Even in the Bible, they talk about sacrificing their children. Even in I posted out something about some anti-extremist Muslims that aren't actually Muslims, because it's against the Muslims to do this. But what they do is they cut their heads and they do it to the children, and they allow for all the blood to piss out. These are called rituals. So we're meant to be exiting the membership of Brexit. We're in a one world order. Do you really think we exit anything? Do you really think we as a nation get complete and utter independence? We're already negotiating with the Caribbean countries, by the way. And actually, holidays to the Caribbean is going to be really interesting after October, because I have a feeling that the flights are going to be quite interesting to like Trinidad and Tobago and all of that, because the deals between Britain and Trinidad and all those sort of places have all been done. It's all things like French and America that haven't been done. This is why we haven't got the proper deal going, because we haven't negotiated with every country on how this is going to work. It's a trade deal at the end of the day, isn't it? You import and export. That's all it is, import and export. It's all they're bothered about. They're not bothered about whether or not you want to cross countries, intermingle with countries. They're not bothered if cultures mix. They're not really bothered whether a black man and a white man want to create a half-caste baby, if that's unpolitical correct way of saying it. They're not bothered whether or not, you want to dance with the devil, or whether you want to, worship and praise the Lord. They really couldn't give a shit. They're not trying to make our country anything. All they're interested in is their self-gratification and filling their bank accounts and making sure they can get out of work on time to go and spend some time with their family and go on holiday, as are most people in this world. So at the end of the day, it's going to be at the family courts tomorrow. The people who go into the family courts enter in there because they have to come to an agreement with children, which either ends up okay, or the parents end up in a war over who gets the toothbrush, who gets the CDs, who gets, the TV, who does that belong to, who paid for that, who, and majority of the time the woman never paid for anything unless she was working. It actually is all owned by the man. Even her knickers are owned by the man at the end of the day. Being a wife is the biggest prostitute in the world, really. You suck his dick, give him a couple of blowjobs, give him a fuck at the end of the night, and he keeps you sweet. It's prostitution, really. But the fact is, you will either be above the threshold. So in a court, they have a threshold, an expectation. So an agreement of expectation. If you cannot meet that agreement of expectation, therefore then they have to decide what's going to happen. So if you can't put your own home over your child's head, if you can't provide an income for your child, if you can't put shoes on your children's feet and provide for their education, then they have to look at other remits. Now, you are allowed to live in a council house. In fact, you could have 5 kids in a 1-bedroom flat. They cannot have a go at that. At the end of the day, they understand that council can house you. You can be in a hostel. You can be on benefits. That is part of it because they consider that that is bridged. Now, the problem with social, I can get on a whole nother conversation with different things. So it's very, very, very difficult to try to bring this whole investigation into social services together, because you have to ask yourself, was it designed to fail people, as many people will say? Or is it just that you get a lot of people going to college and university that go with the intentions either to please daddy and mummy, or because they really want to do something, or because they've either abused themselves and want to help other children and they go into social care or policing as a result of this? Or, you know, and then they go to university and fuck about. And then the problem is once you go to university, you know, you've got to go into your degree. Well, if you're going into children's social care straight from your degree, I'm sorry, but that can't happen. But if they put a cap on it and said, look, you've got to have at least raised your children past the age of 5, or actually successfully raised children of 18, you get a whole different loop of social workers coming in. The question is would you fulfill every, you know, they have to take them in. There isn't enough social workers per city. Now, the problem is the way that our current system is designed is it is pulling us the wrong way in direction. They have designed the system based on not understanding the perspective. That's like a non-dead person trying to explain death. Only somebody who died and come back can explain a near death, but they still can't explain death. My friend Graham, who's actually Lord Graham Gold, he just doesn't refer to it as who's crashed from being Lord Graham Gold to alcoholic at the Roberts Centre, Graham. So they're just Graham and Jenny now. His mother is Lady Catherine Gold. His father is one of the first ever top barristers, funny enough. So this is going to get really interesting. I'm going to learn so much more about the BBC than we could have ever have imagined now, from first-hand eye view people that partied, took the coke, saw who went through the back room, saw the bits going on, who did what, who was where, and who was linked to. I've already had, if I could sit there with a pen and paper every time I'm talking to Graham, which I really do need to start doing now, and taking notes of everything he says, because sometimes he'll just drop another name and it's like even when we were talking yesterday and he was talking about one of the snooker people's snooker coach. Oh shit, I'm gonna have a problem in a minute. My kids are gonna need to change nappies and there isn't any in this house. Now lucky I do have, I don't know where they've gone now, but I do actually have those washable ones. I've got a couple of them, but they're useless. One wee and they're wet. So it looks like I'm going to have a strip in the beds night and running around trying to find mums in the morning that have got kids' nappies just to get out the door over there and then go off and get some nappies. I've still got to make some money. I haven't even got round. I still struggle to get off these lives, to be honest, because these lives help me. Because I mean, like even today, I've pretty much cried on and off all day today. And even Dean pissed me off because I was trying to explain to him, like he said to Elijah, I see, you know, I come see you. And it's like, don't give the kids false hope thing. Don't tell them you're coming home and then something pops up and you've got to go off. And, you know, he's only just unblocked me. So when he unblocks me, he unblocks kids. And he made a comment today and I was trying to explain to him that Elijah looks for Dean everywhere. Where's Daddy when he gets up in the morning? Because to the children, I just want to end on this. To children, their world is mum, who they imprint on when they first come in, and then dad. And then they start get to know these avenues of nan, granddad, uncles, aunts, cousins, any brothers and sisters. Then you start introducing friendships, and then they start seeing people that they just want to stay away from. So, but to a child, the immediate thing every day is to locate and find mum and dad. That's the first thing a child needs to do. Then it's hungry and a bottle and a milk. But predominantly, a child's first role is to locate mum and dad. If mum's there, but dad isn't, then he needs to locate dad. And it has to be done. He has to have some understanding of where is dad. If you say dad's at work and they understand that dad turns up at 5:30 and dad sits down and has tea, that's fine. That gives the child stability. That gives the child certainty. If the mum has to say, I don't know, then that child is literally looking down the streets looking for dad, because it doesn't understand the concept of a mile, 10 miles, 100 miles. Hence why we tell children 1 sleep, 2 sleeps, because we have to explain it in a certain way. Dean made a comment on the phone which really annoyed me, and I was trying to explain to him that Elijah says that his tummy's worried, and he gets a worried tummy, and he's worried, and he even said it to Dean on the phone. He's worried that daddy's not coming back. And he's worried he's not seeing daddy. Now, Dean had a go at me, saying, don't you start brainwashing. I'm going, Dean, this is him. He will walk around the streets and say to people and look and even try to maybe fit somebody else who's a bit like him. And you know, is that dad? Whether single mothers want to soften the blow and believe that they can be everything to their children. And there's a lot of single mums that really convince themselves this, and they're amazing and they're great single mothers, and they can be dad and mum to their children. What a load of bollocks. Look, you can do half a job, mate, but your child will never, and I don't believe even again if you've got a deadbeat dad, a child will never be 100% who they were meant to be if they don't have their mother and father. It's in their DNA. It's in the makeup. It's in mum's interests and hobbies. It's in dad's interests and hobbies. That's what creates and molds the child to be who they are, because they might go to dad playing squash one day, seeing dad banging a ball up, and one day then playing squash with dad, and you know, and stuff like that. Or you know, mum may play the piano, and the baby may be raised listening to mum playing the piano, and eventually sitting next to mum playing the piano, and eventually mum sitting next to them listening to the child playing the piano, and then mum plays the piano, and then maybe they both play the piano together, and then all of a sudden, because mum played the piano, now the children play the piano. And that's where the child gets their identity from. We have a devil, whether you want to believe in the polarity that exists, that we are the devil and the God at the same time, or whether or not you want to believe that there is an inside and an outside, or how you want to understand yin and yang, black, white, perpetual transmutation, polarity. Polarity exists in everything: hot, cold, in, out, up, down. There will always be a polarized state of thing. Hence what we're going through. We're not going through global warming because of fossils and everything. We are going what's called polarization, where the crust of the turn is going to happen, and we will realign in the planets. And you know, this is what I mean about uneducated fools causing mass hysteria and problems and shit going on. But unfortunately, uneducated fools are ending up with their children taken too. And not just uneducated fools, but at the end of the day, if you don't know what a Section 47 is and what the child laws are, then we are uneducated fools. Because if, like with what's happened to me yesterday, if I don't know the consequences, that's what's coming my way, that I'm going to get a knock on the door of the social worker, I'm fucking shitting it at the moment because I've got washing up, clothes out, you know, the meet and greet's going to go on as it is, and try to explain my living standard. That's what annoyed me about being at Save the Family. It's like, you're judging me by living here, mate. You're not judging me by what my home looked like before I got here, and you're not judging me by what my home's going to look like when I get to where I'm going. You're judging me by the standards of Save the Family. You're judging my associations and the people around me, not by my actual experience. You're looking at the here and now. The here and now is just a residual of what happened. I wasn't expecting to do, I've nearly gone into an hour and a half, but my point being is that we have other people out there that we don't know, we don't have personal relationships with, And then they will ring us and say, oh, we've had a phone call, blah, 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 or we're going to report, and we just want to come out and check everything's okay. What they're not doing is coming out and saying, look, you've highlighted that maybe there's a couple of struggles going on, and, you know, maybe you could do with a bit of help. Is there anything we can come and give you a hand with? And you know what? Like the army did with me when I ended up in A&E, you know, social should be coming in and going, look, right, okay, you need some hands to get that done, right? Two hours on that. Let's get that done. Let's get that done. Roll up their sleeves, maybe give you a bit of a hand, right? Okie dokie. So you've got some kids that are helping you out and stuff. So childcare is a bit of an issue. What is it that you need to be able to do? And that really means that you do actually need some childcare. You know, is there any conditions going on? Is, you know, sitting down and explaining it. Social services should be signposters. Social services should be like the GP of the social services. That's what they are. But as exposure, don't take my child, and everything, as I've explained, is social services, be it children or adults, which is an office of all in things. So basically it's like going to the GP and saying, I don't feel well, and them then going, is it your big toe, is it your ear, do you need to go to a gynecologist, do you need to go to a gastrologist, do you need to go to an orthopedic, blah blah blah. And social should be the instrument of that as well. The one person that's missing in multi-agency is they never bring your work coach into the matter. And the work coach, by the way, is everything. And unfortunately that work coach doesn't get information that you've just had a child taken and family's just been separated, and now all of a sudden benefits have just gone bang, and all of a sudden mum and dad are going, what the fuck's just happened to my life? And then that brings us to here, that we are a bunch of parents that are sitting on crackbook who don't have all of our children with us, or some have none with them. Some may have a few, some may have children on long-term foster care, children in different placements, different homes. You know, don't even get me talking about children being separated in foster care, or in even adopted. One might get adopted, one goes to long-term foster care, and another one might go to grands. You know, children being separated by the state, divide and conquer. And then, of course, you've even got the contact. You know, even prisons get more contact than foster care does. So these are all other avenues that come into it, the court processes, all this stuff, that it just ends up this complete spin. So I'm enjoying this time at the moment of really trying to put this together and talking to people and getting a bit of perspective. And the fact that I've gone on to have other kids and I've seen it from a different point of view. And I used to be really, really anti women that didn't put men on the tenancy. And now I've been in the situation that I am. I get why women put the tenancy, but it's difficult because, you know, we as the Western world, if I was the Prime Minister of this country right now, I would be putting marriage and family as the priority of this country. 100% marriage. I would support people who wanted to live in sin and cohabit and stuff like that, but I wouldn't be encouraging that. My prime focus would be on the father, on the husbands, because if the dad's right, if he is the provider and the protector, and he can sustain, you know, the home, the transportation, the furniture, the income, the travel, you know, the food on the table, if he can do that with mum's help as the backbone and both being parents, then nobody becomes dependent on the state. So the state should have an attitude where it's going, okay, someone's come to us, there's a bit of a problem, right? We've got to do. You know, we don't have people in this country that are leading the way, that are looking at the population of people in how many people living out in the streets, blah, 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 coming out, speaking to people, how you doing, what's going on. You know, they're not looking at everything going, okay, how can we be great? How can our country, you know, be on the map of, you know, the amount of people that are living their lives to the complete and utter full. And, you know, we don't have these shitty areas that are just absolutely humiliating. You know, if you look at the environment that you live in right now, before I go, just have a look at the area that you live in. And then imagine that there's people in other countries that work to get 28 days a year off. And with all that money that they've saved, they've got on an aeroplane and they've gone to the land of dreams. They've flown all the way to England to come here and spend 2 weeks here because, you know, England is the most beautiful place to go and see, and it's amazing and great. And imagine them getting off the aeroplane. And then, no, isn't it amazing when you got off the aeroplane in Spain and places like that, those Cyprus ones, because I like all the palm trees in the middle and the confusion of the road going the wrong way round. But Spain is awesome. In fact, Bulgaria is very pretty when you come out. I mean, Barbados is amazing, especially if you don't get, it doesn't, even if you're coming out the plane or if you're coming out of the airport, the heat. The heat difference from being here in England to the door opening and being smacked with heat is actually amazing. So you imagine they've got out of the airport and then, you know, they're seeing this amazing Great Britain, and then they get their car hire and their hotel and they drive off and they go to these places. Now imagine them coming to where you are. Is it really worth working an entire year of your life to put all of your money in to take your family to come and see people watching Jerry McKyle and fighting this and fighting that and all this sort of stuff? And or is where you live somewhere that someone would come over and go, wow, what a beautiful place this is, you know, post this up on Facebook, and wow, what a great place Great Britain was. I'm ashamed of my country. I'm ashamed. I'm embarrassed to be British. I really am. I look at society and the world around, and as much as I like even Graham, I love Graham to bits, but the reality is the majority of people who look at Graham as he walks down the streets just see a drunk. They don't see the man behind that. They don't see the man behind the alcohol. The gurning crackhead down the road. They just see the crackhead. They don't see the pain and suffering that that person has been through, that they've ended up submerging their emotions because they weren't taught how to master their emotions, that they've used this drug and, you know, and it's got rid of the feeling for a bit, but now they just look like a complete wasted life, really. These are the people I call dead men walking. It's going to be really funny when the police interview me and I unwrap all these sentences. Even today, actually, I put, ready, Anna, here I come. But actually, the video is actually about the relationship between two people. If you look at the subliminals of it, it's saying, ready or not. And as I was saying today, ready or not, here we come. So as tomorrow, I need to get this nappy situation sorted and some money. I'm not paid by the state until the 18th. So I've got what? It's the 20. Oh my goodness, how many days have I got to pay? Oh, shit. Oh my goodness. I got 1 full week, 2 full weeks. I'm so annoyed at Amber. I'm so annoyed not having my structures in place. I could have, if I actually show you how much money I could be making each day doing what I'm doing, and my family would be living a very different life right now. In fact, all this would be done and dusted because I'd fund this whole cause myself. In fact, what do you want? I'd buy it for you. 1, 2. Holy shit. Holy shit. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Just over 4. How? 4.5 weeks? That can't be right. This is where it's crazy. Like that, I'm paid every 18th, and obviously immediately on the first day of that month, you know, well, not the first day, but 18th. You know, my rent comes straight out. Gas? No, I don't have gas. 2 waters, electric. The phone and the internet and that. I don't have TV or anything like that. I don't have house insurance or anything like that. I have car insurance, car tax, provident payment, which I haven't been doing the lot since they separated, knocked all my benefits down. got the 20 quid to Lisa each time, which I haven't been able to pay this month either. And once all that is paid, I'm left with something like 70 quid for a whole month to like go shopping, do food. Hence why I work in homeless places anyway. In my, like, when I say work, mission, it's what I do, serve. But yeah, that's why we have to sort of live like that. And it's the food vouchers that get us through, because that's where the milk, the juice, and the bananas come from. So my £3.10 milk voucher that I get pretty much buys the milk, the apple juice, or orange juice, and bananas, and that makes sure that each day the kids have the milk, the juice, and a banana. And then obviously I keep Weetabix going, so you only need milks with the Weetabix in the morning with a banana, and I have some seeds and nuts, because when you go to these homeless sort of places, don't forget rich snob people leave amazing, beautiful foods and luxury stuff that homeless look at it to go, what the fuck's that? So it stays on the table. So people like me are in our elements, because there's like lots of different things that are really cool, and you look at it and go, yeah, that's great. So like the difference between beans and all the different pulses and beans, you tend to find that the majority of people don't really use that stuff or know what to do with it. So but anyway, before I go, top, middle, and bottom is about to become, so the peasants down here to the lords and ladies to the working class. So we are the peasants, by the way. If you're not a peasant, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the riffraff down here that are sponging off the taxpayers. I'm not sponging off the taxpayers. I'm really doing my damn fucking best, people. I really am. I'm doing everything. I have a physical condition. I'm dealing with grief. Even yesterday, it was just knocked me for six. I may have the police at my door in the morning. I may have social at my door. They might be ringing me. They may just go into a statutory meeting. At the end of the day, they've had a call. They've spoke to me. Now they've got to go and meet and decide what happens. It's the process. I'm in a process whether I like it or not now. Here we go round the mulberry bush again. I'm going to end up killing one of these people one day. I really am. And I suppose when I go to court, the psychiatrist will turn around and say, I'm not surprised. She had 41 years of systematic abuse. 41 years of it. 41 years because of this condition. And I've had enough. Sorry, guys. Anyway, as I say, my vocal cords can't take this amount talking. I'd be fucking rich if I could talk for 4 hours, but I can't. I can introduce people and maybe get more people up for 4 hours. That'd be really cool. So anyway, guys, there's a problem in social care. People are having their kids taken. There's a problem with parent alienation and denied contact. And there's a bunch of us that are trying to raise awareness and get out there and do things. But, how many people know that Andrew has just spent the last few days in torrential fucking rain to walk from Essex to get here to Portsmouth to make sure serve here to kick things off? So parent alienation is going to go in, then the next one's going to come, the next one, then mine's going in. It's all working in co-symbiotic. The Lord's got this, mate. We ain't in control. He will lead us. So anyway, tomorrow morning, it's 5 to midnight. Tomorrow morning at midnight, I am meant to be preparing and starting for Monday morning motivation with Kelly Cotton. I guarantee you I am not going to be feeling very motivated. I haven't got everything ready for tomorrow. In fact, my desk, I've just seen it on my desk. Hang on a minute. So there's the lifestyle that my children had. This is after divorce, so I'm a single mum. So this is Liam. There's Mummy. This is prior to Aaron and Faith. So this is prior to meeting Stephen. So that was us in Egypt, in Cairo. That's Liam and Daniel and me. So that was my life before meeting Stephen and falling down into this hell pit of what the fuck is this world? Sorry, but if you only know a council world and a benefit world, bless you. Bless you that you don't know anything different. Bless you. There's a whole world. You ain't even living 1% of your life. That's how bad it is. That's how sad it is. That's really how sad it is. It is, you know, you're lower than minimum wage. Do you know, you get that? So then you've got people on minimum wage. Then you've got people on a good wage. Then you've got people who are living, you know, over sort of 30, 60,000. And actually, the majority of my friends aren't on 60,000. They're on six figures. The majority of people that I know or from that world are all six-figure people. They all live lives where, you know, they go snorkeling while the fucking phone makes their money, and you know, they could put one product out, and all of a sudden, you know, it could hit a million sales. Do you know what I mean? At a pound profit, you know. So in an hour they've done 1 million. You know, that's how my old life that I hadn't quite achieved fully, because I'd only just got all the infrastructures and everything in place, literally, just as prior to getting to Save the Family. And then Save the Family were battering me, going, you can't be self-employed living here. We need you to tick the box for income support. And completely try crashing everything. And I'm going, but I'm already out in the media. I'm already self-employed. Why would you want to put me back into income support and being dependent on you? Which is what I said in the course. I said, the only issue I have is money. How can a 30, 40 grand a year social worker teach me about making money when the mentors that I've had have been, whatever you think about them personally, have been Richard Branson, Alan Sugar, Tony Robbins, Donald Trump, Kevin Green, James Greenwell. Do you want me to roll some of them off? God, there's a whole list of them. The Speakmans. Oh, fucking hell, I'd be unlocking a whole box here of every single person that, since I said in the media that I needed to earn over 60,000 to clear the system, that have come together to try and help me, you know, achieve this. I know, you know, I had an amazing conversations before Aaron and Faith were taken with Christine and Neil Hamilton, who were out there pushing their book for Neil being accused of being part of all this child sex stuff. Do you know what? I looked into their eyes and I thought, you've been wrongfully accused. I still don't know for this day, are they wrongfully accused? I've got a book downstairs, but I haven't actually finished reading it. In fact, I don't think I actually read it. Dean's called me a right-wing lesbian feminist because it was called The Battle Axes of Britain. She signed the book and stuff like that, but she was talking about, you know, she had a conversation with me away from her book, you know, talking about what Neil Hamilton had gone through and how they've stood together. I don't know. Am I going to find that there was a reason that I had this conversation and it's all part of it? Because when you have a purpose like mine, and you work the way that I do, then I work in co-symbiotic with the universe. Hence why I have a lovely filing cabinet there that was found outside that just needed a screw in it. That's completely fine. I haven't gone and paid for it. It hasn't come around. God, you know, I've got to pull things off tomorrow. When it comes to nappies, I start panicking because, you know, then it's, you know, Elijah officially should be 100% out of nappies, and Shiloh should be, you know, completely going, but not having a garden. It's the number twos for Elijah. Shiloh's actually ahead of Elijah. So tomorrow might be a great way of going, look, we've got to go across there. But because I'm going to be dealing with a lot of other stuff going on, I mean, I can't tread on Andrew's toes, but I have spoken to the reporters for Portsmouth here and everything, and I'm hoping to allow this to spin off to bring in me being here in Portsmouth and just being local in my own community and setting up here and taking it from here to set up the family firsts. And yeah, so anyway, I've nearly gone off fucking 2 hours, mate. This is why at the end of the day, all this stuff is meant to be being put into my transcribes, and I should literally now, one of the reasons that I'm struggling with writing my book is I haven't got all of the transcribes from when I first ever started my crack book or off this one, because that's what my PA used to do, is literally every time it was done, transcribe it off, and then I could fill in the gaps and talk around it. And that was meant to be my book, all my pictures, all my posts, everything. That was the book, done, dust, all the transcribe from each lives. That was meant to be the book, put it together, bang, out, there you go, you know, 999 emergency number, you know, and most of it goes to support the cause, because my work and my home and everything is all about the cause anyway. So yeah, you know, at the moment I'm in the situation that I am, and don't forget it's this week now. I've got social potential coming in this week. I've got the 4th of October where I have to pay the outstanding rent that's accumulated. I haven't sold all the bits that I need to, because I just haven't had the focus to do so. Amber distracts me all day with fucking up my social media, not getting stuff done. I have no fundamentals and foundations, and for someone like me, I can't function without it. So when I come in and I go on my social media and this is going on and this is going on, it's like, fuck off. Like, seriously, Amber, get the fuck away from me, you know. But I get it, and I'm patient and don't, but it's fucking my life up on a daily basis. And as I've told people now, Graham is pretty much the only person that I'm committing my time to at the moment to go and get his stuff out, because I can make some money out of the memorabilia and help him do stuff, and everything that I help him with, I'm getting 10% off. You know, we're building a good relationship anyway, but you know, I can't allow for people like Amber and other people, no disrespect to Amber, it's not even Amber's fault, but I can't allow for people to be putting me in a situation this week. As from tomorrow morning, I'm free falling. I'm free falling with nothing. I'm free falling with no healthy start vouchers. I'm free falling with a big gap in between. This benefits that comes in as well, I'm going to be having removed, because I have to officially by November be in work, because my son is 2. I then have to start going to obviously either being the sick route. I haven't got another sick voucher in, because it's a full-time job, making appointments, ringing, sorting stuff out, looking after 2 children, keeping everything going. You know, my plate is fucking a banquet line of fucking tables, and I'm responsible for every fucking overfilled plate down the road. So, and you're expecting me to spin the plates, and then you have a go at me, and then you want to dictate to me, and then you want to tell me what to do, then you want to troll me, then you want to support me, then you want to have broken promises, then you want to tell me you're going to do stuff, then you want to tell me that you're not going to do stuff, and I can't even wake up to my daily fucking timeline on a daily basis. Is it important? Yes, it is. Social media is a working space. This is about connecting, resourcing. This is about somebody going, oh, Kelly, oh, I know what she does and what she stands for. This is about journalists now going on there going, fantastic, this is clean, clear, precise. You know, the message is strong. When you pick up a book, you want to know what it's about. You want to be able to read the back of it and go, yeah, fantastic, I'm going to enjoy this. You know, Amber just keeps my life out of it in a fucking chaos. It's chaos. It's not her fault. She's got a shitty computer. She's over in Trinidad. We don't communicate in the greatest ways to do stuff. She's sometimes expected to have crystal balls, but at the end of the day, she doesn't have the last 25 years of experience, tools and knowledge and education that I've had, and the vision that I create. And if I had my laptop, if I had the tools, I fucking do it myself. It's a piece of piss. You know, and I've got to pull in some other stuff which takes some income. But I would be I'd rather be putting my life in moving forward than keeping this going. I'm clearly still going to be here for a bit because a filing cabinet's coming in. You know, and even if they do go for the eviction on the 4th anyway, you know, the first stages of the eviction will be they'll turn up and say, hey, Kelly, you've got to leave, you haven't paid. I turn around and go, oh, sorry, no. Then they then have to then file the court to get me out. So then they've got to go over to the courts in order to be able to do that. So, you know, it'd be another 3 or 4 weeks anyway before they can even start fighting me in court on whether I should be evicted from my property. The problem is I've also now got social coming in tomorrow. They're going to see all this on paperwork, pull all these things in, see it. And next thing, I'm dealing with paperwork, not as an entrepreneurial mum that's moving forward with this, but then I've got to be this again. And then I've got to explain my relationship, justify my fucking life. And you know what? It's not even getting that way with me now. The laid back, yeah, it's fine, do your job, do what you got to do, you know, which is why I've come through what I've come through. Look, touch my kids, I kill you, but do what you got to do, it's fine. Yeah, fine, yeah, what do you want to know? Which is the attitude I've sort of had with them. It's not like that now. Like I told Sally, step to me, go into a statutory meeting tomorrow. I've answered your question. That's the end of the matter. Shut it down. Don't bring it into a meeting on Monday morning. If you do, Sally, you personally and every person is then committing misfeasance in public office, because you are now sharing third-party false information to more people, which actually then is discriminating and defamating me to another set of people, which means I can slam your ass in prison for 10 years. I know now how to do this. So anyway, I have gone into 2 hours. I'm going to give you something before I go. I need every single one of you to start putting together a genealogy of your experience with social services. When you first heard from them, what was it about? What was your experience? If there's been any other encounters, what the outcome was. And that's all I need you to put through for now. And then hopefully I'm going to be bringing every one of us through. I can't deal with every one of you. So what I'm going to do is just put it into a download for you, and you're going to have to work through it yourself. And you're going to have to help, get people to help you, or I'll do intimate lives or Zooms where we can work specifically on that one thing, and we'll properly do it because we can see each other and stuff. But ultimately, what it will do is basically give you about £1 million in your pocket and your children back. Simple as that. So 30 minimum, a minimum of about 8 grand. So minimum of about 8 grand, 170 grand, all the way up to probably 2 or 3 million for the compensation of what they've done. So yeah, if you're serious about getting this out, you better get up for the direct action, mate, because if we don't push this a little bit further and we don't get you know, these coined words coming through, and we don't let them know we're here, mate, and we're coming through and we can help train everybody, then it isn't really going to happen. But you know, if we can really push, don't forget it's Adoption Awareness Month coming up in October, over the space of a couple of weeks, you know, and we have an opportunity during that time to literally come together. And I think I might even plan for this, by the way. It's got a couple of weeks to plan for it. That if we need arrestables, we're going to need about 400 arrestables. So if there's about maybe, the only thing is though, it could mean some of you do some time. We may be able to find a way around this, and if the solicitor team comes in on this, that I think could come in, then we could potentially be okay. But if we think about it, the problem that I've got is, no disrespect to a lot of the parents, but you're not educated enough to do this. The reason that it works so well with XR is because the majority of them are university students, so they know what they're doing. The majority of people in benefits are EastEnders, Coronation Street, Emmerdale educated, and that ain't going to get you anywhere in life, I'm afraid, because life ain't really like that. Hence why the majority of people in this world live in a drama, because you live in a drama. Some read books, some do stuff, some have studied stuff, but if you don't have the fundamental foundations of education, which is politics because it rules the world, law because it controls the world, and the processes and the monetary system, and you know, religions and faiths, if you're just a racist or a bigot that just narrow-minded, points fingers and judges people and fucking packies out this country and get out of Brexit, get the fucking immigrants out of our fucking country. Low level education. You know, people should be embracing going off to Japan and China and understanding and experiencing these different cultures, and you know, being able to go and sit in a cafe in Amsterdam and have a joint, and then going somewhere where you can't even have sex on the beach because you could get arrested. You know what I mean? We should be appreciating it. You know, we should be appreciating these different cultures and being well-traveled, being educated. In education is the key. Knowledge is the key. If you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the power. It's as simple as that. If you don't know Andrew, who's going to file to the courts tomorrow, he knows how to do that. If you all know how to do that, you would all be doing it tomorrow morning. Every single one of us can bring our children home if we just follow the rules and regulations and the principles that do it. It's as easy as that. And on that note, guys, I have ran out of steam officially. I'm going to go and make a brew. See if I've got any dimps, because it's been fucking raining, so they've all been soaked wet through, which is really annoying. I've got a couple of paracetamol to go and take because I'm really not well. I'm getting sicker and sicker every day. Economy 7 isn't helping. This situation where I'm living isn't helping. If anybody is coming down to Portsmouth for tomorrow that fancies folding and bundling up some clothes and helping me do stuff, you're more than welcome to come for a brew at my house tomorrow. If anyone is going to be there, if not, I'm gonna. If I do manage to get the petrol sorted, or Andrew doesn't want to get a train back, I'm quite happy to drive him back. I've got no problems. It'd be great to do a live and chat to him on the way back. But I'm going to need some help with the petrol money. If that, I'm going to do that to drive him back to Wales, and then I could catch up with David Jenkins and maybe start all the balls rolling. And kicking things off again, because you know sometimes it just takes a new person to come in and keep the ball rolling. Do you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, there's 3 objectives within this particular network. Within Step Up, it's a bit different. Passion, principles, and yeah, peace, love, harmony, prosperity, and obviously we want we want to get everybody together prior to October in assemblies. So tomorrow, I'm hoping at some point, if I've got other people down there, I haven't had a chance to call people in yet because I'm so focused on sorting nappies now. I can't concrete anything, because if I don't have nappies by 9:30 in the morning, then I will not be over at the court for 10. So what I could do with is go in and get in a cheap packet of nappies. I might even have to go to my corner shop down here and just sort of say to him, look, can I just pick up some nappies? And when I make a sale, I'll just drop it into you just to go across to the courts. As there is all the way up there, and I can't jump in the car tomorrow because I've no petrol, which makes things a bit difficult. And personally, I'd rather take the car across tomorrow as well, because Andrew just literally drops a letter and sort of goes, but I want to be able to now come out bang. So hopefully I want to pick up the mic tomorrow in town hall while the council is open and let everybody know that we're here, I'm here, we're building. I'm going to come down pretty much every day, not every day, but on a particular day each week until we build and build and build and build. And I'm going to call in all the local people who've been affected by social care, the system, blah, 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 until eventually I can educate and train every person with this gift that I have for everybody that's basically going to free them up to live the lives that they want, while an app pretty much works for them making money on a daily basis. And that app will pretty much be them, who they are. So it will be their identity within that app. So anyway, on that note, we'll get there eventually. I may not be where I want to be right now, but at least I'm not where I was. Keep on keeping on, keep moving forward. I'm a bit devastated that I'm going into the unknown tomorrow. I'm more focused, well, now focused on nappies, that's a fuck up, but you know, I'm more focused on going and sending a message rather than and then actually what I'll do is I'll then walk up to social and find out exactly what's going on. And if Andrew will give me a bit of time to just come with me, maybe just so I've got a witness, just in case they lock me in a fucking room and take my kids off me there and then. It scares the shit out of me, guys. It does. I feel so vulnerable, so powerless, and you know, it brings out this rearing lion in me that annoys me, because at the end of the day they're forcing me to have to protect myself. And the reality is, I know that even if the social worker shut the door and said, look, I just need you to sit there for a minute, and I know what's coming, even if I took a gun out of my pocket, popped the 2 police officers in the corner and the social worker, I'm not getting out of that building with my kids. So what do you do? shoot everybody in my way, get in my car and go where? I'm going to go to prison. My children are going to get adopted anyway. So I can't kill anybody. And that's a right fucker, because there's quite a few people on my nice little fucking hit list right now that would just go, you know, and it would be great pleasure. And actually, there's quite a few people that really should be, you know, off with their heads and taken out, and we'd have a really nice country if we could just get rid of maybe 1% of the country, even 5% of the country of those fucking paedophiles, line them all up and go, woo, 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 woo. And then we don't really have the problems in society, do we? However, you know, the Bible says thou shalt not kill, so therefore we will not cross that line, shall we? So the best that we can do is some walks, some awareness, some protesting. You guys are not soldiers. I'd love to prepare an army right now, but you're not soldiers. But we really do need to be now raising the roof on this, but not from the angle that you've all been doing it before. We need to bring some balance. And the way that I'm going is going to be nice to the social workers and nice to the police. We're going to give a blame. This is how real leadership, you have to have someone to blame in order to bring a solution in. So social workers and police don't get their blacks up. What I'm going for now is for any third party person who presents false information to social or the police, be it that even be a social worker or police. It just means it's the person, so it's not corrupting the whole services. If any person, so it could be your mum, your nan, your neighbour, the school, doesn't really matter what it is, any third party who shares information that is false now needs to be arrested and detained. It's getting serious now. So even if someone from the streets has, like what's happened to me yesterday, and rang social care with cause for concern for my children who were immaculately dressed, very happy, just a little bit tired, you know, so yeah, there needs to be harder punishment. And this is going to open up everything that people run, that it brings vulnerability of children that are targeted by both. This is the way to go, guys. This is how we're going to bring balance. This is how we're going to bring truth and balance for my entire 9 years of, and not even 9 years, it's way beyond, but my commitment to the last 9 years. From my conclusion, this is the only way you're going to win this. It is. So anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you. It's now Monday morning, so happy Monday morning, a new week, new start. Whatever was been and gone last week has gone. There's nothing you can do about it. Can't change it. You can't change people, circumstances, or events. All you can do is change what they mean to you. So whatever has been and gone in last week, take it on board. What was your highs? What was your lows? What did you take from it? What did you learn from it? What didn't work and what worked? Forgive yourself for the mistakes that you might have made, for the decisions that were not so great, for not maybe achieving some of the things that you did, and put it behind you. And then enter into a whole new week. We're nearly into our new month again, but we're in a whole new week. And now you've got a whole new week to set by 4 o'clock Friday, so you can have a weekend and enjoy your weekend. What do you need to achieve? What you need to do? Little goals, break it down. Right here, right now, before you get off, just think of one thing that you need to be doing. That one thing that you could be doing is writing your genealogy and putting together your genealogy for your own statement, your own book, your own things. And that could be your starting goal. It could just be that you want to go painting, you want to go decorate, you want to go do something. It could just be you want to do a clear out and get some extra cash in, like I'm doing, to bridge the gap. It could be that actually you want to do your CV and go and get a job for a bit. It could be anything. It could just be that actually, do you know what, you're just going to ring your mum and dad and have a chat. It could be that you want to go and speak to services. It could be that you want to get here in Portsmouth for 10 o'clock in the morning to meet us over at the courts. And let's see how the day goes. And maybe we could all help each other out. That'd be absolutely lovely. So anyway, guys, hopefully I will see you all in the morning outside Portsmouth Family Courts. And I will be sharing Andrew's live at 10:30. But I will be there from 10, hopefully with a working phone, hopefully with some petrol and some nappies. If not, oops. And hopefully with my house in some form of order that I can invite people back, because the courts is there. So literally you can come back and have a coffee and have a chat, and if it's raining and stuff like that. So see how the day goes tomorrow. So anyway, I got to definitely be over there for 10:30. So I want to literally leave here at 10, walk down. I'd like to be there before, but it's a bit of a hard place to be if it's raining, in terms of hanging around with my kids. And I haven't got on my messenger and stuff once I'm out, so I won't be able to communicate with anybody or do any lives. I will just be able to post and put maybe a couple of pictures up. That'll be about it. So if anyone does want to turn up with a phone, let me plug into all my sources. That would be great. I'm going to take my laptop over, but it won't last on battery for that long. And then once I do this tomorrow here in Portsmouth, it's game on. See you later, guys. I see you tomorrow. Just remember, don't always take me personally, but just remember, if you can take something from me that works, that helps you, brilliant. And I can't wait this Christmas seeing all your nice little pictures of your family days out and stuff like that. I love getting them. I love it. I love seeing messages. But to those that don't listen to me and want to go off with all the other campaigners and stay in this whole hate social services, don't work with them, don't do this, you ain't getting your kids back. See you later, guys. Love you lots. Like jelly dots.